This segment is brought to you by JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com and use promo code PNF20 and save 20% off your next jig order today.
Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. This is the final cast segment with your hosts Brad Hicks and Josh Eldridge, where we cast our final opinions on all products, good and bad. Welcome to the final cast. Welcome back to the final cast on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. I'm Brad, your host. Tonight we're going to do something different. I got three local guys in Ohio. They're probably three of the best river fishermen in Ohio. We got Ryan Dahl, Matt Jackson, and Jason Myers. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Doing all right.
Thanks for coming on the show, guys. We're going to talk about the Smalljaw brawl that you guys have going on. But first, let's do some introductions. How long you guys been fishing? How long you been fishing the river? All that kind of thing. Start off with Ryan.
My name is Ryan Dahl. I've been fishing my whole life, like most people. Started out fishing in the creek as a little kid. I can remember being grounded and my parents telling me that I couldn't leave. But I remember grabbing my tackle and sneaking out the back door and running to the creek. And I'd be gone all day. There's a little creek here in Kettering, and it runs to a couple ponds, and we'd stay back there all day long, catching little bluegills and carp and stuff like that. Pretty much did the pond thing, pond hopping, stuff like that. I didn't start fishing a river until, I want to say really hard, probably 2015, 2016 maybe. That's when I caught my first good river smallmouth.
How big was that first one?
I actually went to the Little Miami River in Xenia, got one. It was probably about 16, 17.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good, and I was hooked.
Yeah, that's how it starts.
Yeah. It's been over with since then.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time on the river, that's for sure. Matt, let's get to you.
I started when I was little. My papa used to take me fishing. He used to go to these little restaurants and eat biscuits and gravy, drink coffee, and he'd get permission to fish all these ponds. Obviously, they were really good ponds. We'd go there and just wear them out. About the only bait we threw was a 7-inch power bait worm. Mm-hmm. And we just went from there, went to public lakes and ponds. And we don't throw that anymore, but that's just kind of evolved into fishing more lakes. I got a little 14-foot boat. So we fish the local lakes, Cowan, Caesars Creek, East Fork. Kind of got into crappie fishing a lot. So every spring we spend several months crappie fishing. And then kind of when that dies off, I like to catch smallmouth. I haven't been smallmouth fishing a long time, but, I'm always learning. I feel like I get better, the more I do it. And I, try to learn from guys like Jason and Ryan. I don't even remember where the first place I went was, but, somewhere around here, somewhere around East Fork or Little Miami, somewhere in there. And just the more I do it, the more I want to do it. So
yeah,
I feel like I'm getting better. I still got a lot to learn, but that's my little niche is creek fishing, river fishing. I kind of struggle on the Great Miami because there's a lot of water to cover, but anywhere there's smallmouth biting, I'm game to go.
Yep, same here. Yeah. You mentioned the 7-inch curly tail worm. I use that a lot on the lakes around here, especially when there's grass and stuff. It's one of my favorite things to throw.
Yep. I mean, it's old school, real simple, and the bass, they like it.
Yep. Jason? Go ahead.
Anymore, I throw jigs like 75% of the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just my confidence bait.
I'm going to have to get with you then because I don't know how to fish jigs that well. I can't catch a fish on them.
You missing out.
I know. I've thrown them for hours and hours. I never get a bite on them. I don't know what it is.
I don't like them either.
Yeah, I'll use the finesse jigs on the river, but like a football jig, I have no idea.
Right.
So, yeah. Jason?
Yeah, my name is Jason Myers. I've been fishing since I was little. My dad started taking me. Mostly growing up, I'd fish the lakes, and then as I got older, we lived close enough to the river so I could walk over there when I was a teenager. So I taught myself how to smallmouth fish the river. Then in the early 2000s, I bass fished tournaments a lot and joined a club and was Angler of the Year one year. I probably won somewhere in the range of 30 bass tournaments local in the early 2000s. River fishing, I got back into it about 2014, just, hitting the dams, and I've traveled all over the country fishing. So I just, basically all the stuff I taught myself on Del Hollow, Lake Cumberland, St. Clair, Lake Erie, I just, used on the river. I usually use bigger baits than most people on the river. So I catch a lot of big smallmouth. Well, normally, not right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. The bigger bait, bigger fish. I struggle with that on the river, though, it seems like.
I usually don't use nothing less than 4 inches. I mean, I use up the 5.5-inch jerk bait, 4.5-inch swim baits. That's my pictures on Facebook tell the story. I catch a lot of big smallmouth.
Yeah, I love following your page, man. It's awesome, that's for sure. And then another reason why I brought you on the show too. So that's cool. Let's talk about the Smalljaw brawl. Who started that?
Mark Winhart. He's the director of the tournament, right?
Is he a local guy as well?
Yeah, I think he's Centerville, Ryan. Is that right?
Yeah, he's from Centerville. He's a local guy. He's a stick on the river too, multi-species type of guy.
I haven't seen his name pop up.
Night. So he's on the page.
Okay.
Yeah. We were talking one night. So they do that thing, the Ohio Saw Guy Brawl.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of Mark's friends do that. And we were talking one night and we're like, dude, we need to do a smallmouth tournament like this. So we talked about it and talked about it and talked about it, and nothing really came of it. And then one day, me and Mark are talking in our little group chat, and he's like, dude, I got a laptop. I'm going to start this up. Go for it. Then, of course, he asked Jason to help us. And Jason started getting all kinds of people to join. He's got all kinds of followers. And the next thing you know, we had over 70 people for the first tournament.
Wow. That's a pretty big tournament. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Has it been consistent, like those numbers the whole time?
I think we're still around 60 people this tournament here. So this is our second one. So I haven't checked to see how many people in it. Last time I looked, there was, I know, the upper 50s. That was, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was like 56 or something like that last time I checked.
That's pretty cool. I think you guys are on to something with this too. It's unique. I haven't heard of anybody else doing this in any other state, I guess, area either. But you guys, you can wade fish, you can kayak fish, you can bank fish, any of that stuff, right?
Yeah, I think a couple guys. I got a bass boat too, and I took my bass boat out last weekend, and fished a pool up in Dayton.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think I knew where the only boat ramp in Dayton.
Yeah.
That's cool though. What's that?
Said he caught him too, though.
Yeah. I fish that area all the time, but I'm only pulling out little ones, so I'm doing something wrong. But yeah. You said the second one, 60 people, 50 people the second time, 70 the first time, and yeah, it's cool. I haven't seen anybody do this before. Just like go through like what you guys have been doing, like not giving your spots or anything, but kind of like what you've been targeting and what type of water you've been looking for in the summer months. Whoever wants to start first.
For me in the summer months, for me, I'm just I'm looking for super fast water. You know that's I'm trying to run. I'm eventually going to find and they usually run in the same sizes. So I know eventually I'm going to hit a spot where it's going to be, like I told Ryan earlier, that I'm finally going to hit a spot where, I'll catch 6, what's going to be 18, 19, 20 inches long, within an hour. I mean, I hope it happens. It normally does. And I said when the tournament started that the last week of this tournament was going to be the best week, is when all the bigger fish going to get caught will be the last week, just because the days are starting to get shorter, the nights are going to start cooling off.
Yeah.
In this area, there's always a shad run up to most of the dams on the Great Miami. So when that shad run starts, that's when the smallmouth start gorging themselves for the winter.
Interesting. I didn't know that. So I'm gonna have to try hitting some of these dams. Then I don't usually fish them.
Yeah.
Man, that's where you told me that you don't like fishing dams, and that's kind of like Jason. That's one of my main things too, especially in the summer, the fast water. And there's so many dams on the Great Miami, you can choose. Heck, there's a lot. Some are better than others. Some get hit more than others. Jason lives by one of the best ones.
Yeah. That's cool. There's I think there's like 3 or 4 dams up here near me. I used to fish the one in Miamisburg quite a bit, but I haven't done that in a while. I used to pull some nice saugeye out of there too, though.
Definitely a good dam for saugeye.
Yeah. Oh, so what's your guys' go-to baits in the summertime? Start with Matt.
So pretty much every fish that I've caught in the tournament has been on a finesse jig, just green pumpkin. To me, it seems like a lot of people, I'm not saying that my jig's better, but a lot of people overlook the hook. I mean, a smallmouth mouth is a lot smaller than a largemouth, and probably 75% of your jigs have a 3/0 or bigger. Finesse jig, it's got like a 2/0 hook, so an 8-incher can get it in its mouth and you can catch 18. So I'm throwing them in a lot of places, log jams. You can kind of pick out where they're going to be, shady spots, below the ripples. And then sometimes I'll say, well, it's going to be right there, and it won't be, but it'll be close. It might not be exactly where I think it should be, but it'll be 50 yards down the stream in the next tree or the next log jam or the next shadow. Like on them sunny days, the smallmouth that I see in the creeks anyway, seem to favor the shade a lot.
Yes, so they're kind of similar to largemouth that way, because the largemouth in the lakes do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not the best river fisherman. I get lucky every now and then, but I never thought about like targeting shadowy areas. Brian's sitting here laughing at me.
I'm telling you.
What's that?
I said, stop it. You're a stick. You kill him. It's good to be humble, but you got to give yourself credit sometimes.
I guess. But yeah, I've never thought to like target shadows, I mean, I've known like if I cast at a log or something, that creates like a current break or something like that. So I know there's fish there. I like to throw a spinnerbait there, but like you add in a shadow there, I've never really looked for it. So that's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
That's the unique thing about fishing creeks too, is you got to be super focused on what's going on around you. You obviously fan cast everything, but
Mm-hmm.
once you catch one fish off a shadow, you get to the next big shadow or the tree overhanging, and you're like, there should be one there, and then boom, you catch another one. It seems you get every day's different, but you kind of get a pattern down. Like I went yesterday, and all the fish was in the deepest water I could find, because the water was super low. But you kind of get a pattern down. And another thing I noticed that's kind of weird, I noticed a lot in the last 2 weeks because I've been fishing pretty much every day. I'll hit a stretch. I usually like go from bridge to bridge, and I'll fish 3 miles or 5 miles at a time. I've fished over 15 miles in the last 2 weeks waiting. I measured it out. It was over 15 miles that I have walked waiting so far in the tournament. But there's certain stretches I'll catch 10, 15 largemouth in a row and not catch any smallmouth. And I'm like, it just blows my mind that certain stretches, they like it better than others.
Yeah.
It's
That's another thing. Yeah, I haven't caught many largemouth on the river. I've probably count on two hands the amount I've caught in the last 8 years on the river. So that's like a whole different game, isn't it? I mean, they're hiding in different spots, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the same spots. Like there'll be a ripple and there'll be a stump, and I'll flip my jig in there and boom, pull out a largemouth. And largemouth. One day I caught 12 in a row, and I was like, all right, I got to get away from this place.
That's cool.
And then last weekend I caught that big flathead catfish. I wasn't expecting that either.
That was awesome.
That was under a bridge, and there was like a bunch of concrete dumped under there. And we seen some like minnows hitting the surface. And that's one thing I watch for a lot, because usually fish are pushing the bait. And I was like, it might be a smallmouth under there. And it was a skirted Ned rig that Jason made for me and gave to me. And I was like, I'm going to chuck this thing under there. And I had a little TRD crawl on there. Mm-hmm. And I chucked it under there and I set the hook. And there was a guy with me. I was like, dude, I think I snagged a carp. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I can't move it. And he's like, whatever. I'm like, well, it could be a big smallmouth under a log or something. And it started coming to me, and it came to the surface, and I was like, oh, dude, that's a flathead. We were both jacked up.
Yeah, that's a cool catch. How big was it?
So he was 32 inches long, and I don't know how accurate the scale was my buddy had, but it said 13 pounds.
Sounds about right.
But those creek fish are just unbelievably powerful, same as a river fish. Even a 13-inch smallmouth in a creek, man, they're stout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they spend their whole life in that current fighting, man. They're just solid muscle.
Yes, it was a blast. I mean, I think we went 4 miles. I only caught one big fish. It was 17 3/4, but it was like picture perfect. There was ripples that came down. And then it got to about 3 feet deep, and there was a big sycamore, probably 3 feet diameter, that kind of laid like 6 inches above the water. And I was like, there could be something under there. And flipped it in there. Boom, we come out and crushed it. I mean, you can't see the fish because they're hiding so deep, but they know where to go. I mean, they're pretty smart.
Yeah. I was going to ask Jason about like high water river fishing. You ever have success finding the bigger ones?
Yeah, that's when the river is between. I always go by the Middletown gauge.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever the Middletown gauge is between 3.8 and 5 feet, and the water's dirty, the bigger fish are easier to catch than they are any time of the year, because there's more current, so they want to get out of the current. There's less spots for them to get out of the current. That's when I won the spring Smalljaw brawl. I caught 3 of my 4 fish on the same day. It was the water was 5 feet. It was just, chocolate milk, and I caught 2 20-inchers and a 1975 on the same day, about an hour apart. Within an hour, I caught all 3 of them. But while I fish, I know like the back of my hand, so I know where every single rock is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm me in the river. I'm more of a bank. I do have a kayak, but it's just for me to get from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
So I caught all 3 of these fish off the same rock pile. And I just kept throwing my swim bait, same cast over and over and over and over again. And I think I caught 15 or 16 fish that day, and probably 10 of them were over 18 inches. And
wow.
But they were it was rock pile. It was in between a run, and I kept hitting that rock pile, and about every 5 or 6 or 7 minutes I catch one off of it.
You mentioned they don't like current during the high water. Does that mean no current at all? Like, is it like some type of like just slack water next to the fast water?
Yeah.
And does it have to be deeper?
No, it was maybe 2 or 3 foot of water is all it was.
Okay.
It's just, when it's clear they're chasing bait, when that water's chocolate milk. I mean, and especially in May, there's plenty of dissolved oxygen in the water, so there's no reason to be in the current. They're just trying to get at, because everything's blown out. There's current everywhere, so they're just going to look for a place to rest till that water gets clear enough for them to be able to feed.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't have the success in is muddy water. It just seems like every time the river muddies up, the bite shuts down for me. I don't know what it is. So I usually try to find these smaller creeks that come into the river and shoot in some clear water, and I usually have luck there. But on main river, no, don't really have much luck.
I know Ryan was getting them. He was just basically flipping the weeds, with a little crawl imitator. He was, whacking them too up in Dayton.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
That was the last day of the tournament. Jason actually came down. We fished together for a little bit, but that weed line. The infamous weed line that grows in the Great Miami. Yep. I was flipping that weed line. I caught 3 fish that were like 19 and 19.5 and a 19 and a quarter that day. All on the last day of the tournament, moved up like 5. It's pretty cool. But I was catching them like that for probably 10, 12 days in the river. You could pretty much go anywhere that weed in any area that we normally would catch fish at. That weed line, and there they were every time. Pretty cool.
Did you say that was in May?
Yep, that was the last day. That was May 31st.
Okay.
So it was pretty much spawn time too. But
yeah, because I've had similar successes in the past around early June, doing the same thing. I throw in like a chatterbait or a spinnerbait right next to the grass, and it was funny. Well, one time we were doing a float, and I was sitting here just paddling upstream right against these weeds, and I had a fish land in my boat, and then jump back out. I was like, I looked at it, I was like, what the heck? I didn't grab it or anything, but I looked at it, I was like, what the heck? That was weird. Never had that happen. But yeah, it was a smallmouth. I was right up against those weeds. I guess I just spooked it and he jumped, but ended up pulling 2 off that weed line the same time of the year on a chatterbait. So I didn't know if that was around the time of the year or because of the water gets muddy, but do you think they relate to grass when it gets muddy as well?
I think they just pull up shallower. They feel safe in the muddy water. That's a lot of it has to do with too. Safety. They can't see. You can't see them, and they can't see you. I've always done well, even largemouth or smallmouth, in the muddier water, the shallower they get.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to try that. What are you guys throwing when it's muddy?
I was just throwing Gobi colored haze dong, 4.2 inch, and I was allowing it to. I was making short casts, but my cast would probably last. I'd throw 15, 20 foot, but it'd take me almost a minute to bring it in because even that small paddle tail still puts a vibration off in the water. And I'll find it.
Yeah,
that was crazy. That day that he caught all them fish, I'm like, man, he just murdered him down there. I looked at the gauge and I saw how high it was, so I went there the next day. And I got there in the morning, and I walked up and I looked at the river, and I'm like, man, no way. I said, you know what? I know they're right here. I actually went down about 30 feet from where he catches them to another good spot. I had the underspin on, 1/4 ounce wiggle willow, and the dark green pumpkin haze on. I threw it in. I said, I just got to fish it like it's not dirt. Threw it in there. I'm not kidding you. I got bit in about 20 seconds, and it was a 19.5.
Jeez.
And that has boosted my confidence to fish. I fish it like I just think in my head like it's clean water. Because I don't want to psych myself out and think, I ain't going to catch nothing. Look how muddy it is.
Yeah, that's my problem, man. You hear guys talk about fishing being a mental game, and it's 100% like that's the truth for sure. But
yeah,
I got to get over that.
Helps.
Yeah, I got to get over that. So Jason, you mentioned that you won the first one.
Yeah.
What did you finish with? What was your total?
I think it was 79.25. 4 fish.
4 fish. Yeah, I remember. Is there a reason behind that instead of doing like traditional 5?
I'm not sure. I know when they'd already decided that before I had joined as an admin. I wish they did 10. I was wanting to do 10.
10? That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we just kind of decided on the beginning that that's what me and Mark talked about. We did 4, and now this time we've upped it to 6. We don't want to give Jason a chance to catch 10 big ones yet.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I was looking at the numbers. You guys all have your 6 fish for the month, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then who's in first right now?
Brad
Whitaker.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The boat guy.
Yeah,
boat.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
They're all like, oh man, that guy.
Yeah, you got it.
And he pulled out some good numbers the other day, I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's killing it right now.
Yeah, dude. You know what's killing me? Every place that I fish, I'll be fishing. I was talking to Jason about this yesterday. I'll be down there fishing when I'm on the bank, if I'm bank fishing, and I'll hear, and I look up and guess who's coming.
That's funny.
I can't get away from them. I went somewhere that I never go about 3 days ago. I actually went through some private property that I got permission to fish. Went down to the hole where I caught my 20 in the spring, and I'm like, nobody's going to be down here. So I knew I caught that big fish in the spring. I know there's fish there. Yeah. I'm not kidding you. All of a sudden I hear that noise again. And it's witty. I'm like, dude, go away.
That's awesome. Well, it sucks, but that's awesome. He's using some kind of He's using he's in a jet boat?
Yeah.
He might have been the guy that buzzed me one day.
It had to be.
It's a 16-foot bass tracker, and he took the bottom lower unit off and put a jet on the bottom of it. So I watched a couple videos, man. I don't think there's anywhere he can't go other than straight up a spillway. I mean, he goes through some wild places, and I was talking to him today. I'm like, is there anywhere you can't go? He's like, not really. If I can get a boat ramp, I can go anywhere.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he all the fish he's catching, he makes custom crankbaits.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that because Ryan's been using the last few days, right?
Yep.
What are those?
They're just a square bill. He has two different square bills. He has a regular square bill that dives 4 to 5 feet, he says. He calls that the Witty. And then he has another one, and it's a 0 to 1 foot square bill. Same bill, just a different. And what he was doing was waking it, holding the rod tip up and using it like a wake bait.
Mm-hmm.
And I will let you know that I tried that, and I caught a good one today on it. That's how I caught that fish today that I showed you guys.
Yeah. How big was it?
It was 17.5.
That's a good one. I'll take those all day long.
Right? It was a fatty, but wasn't a long one.
Yeah.
And then I probably caught another 8 fish on that.
Does he sell those to anybody, or you have to know him?
He's got a website. It's wittyoutdoors.com. And he sponsored the brawl. And he said the first 3 people to catch 6 fish over, what was it, 15 or 16 inches, that he would give them a free crankbait. So me, Ryan, and Steve Coomer got the first 6 big fish, and he sent out the crankbait. I mean, they're custom made. He makes them all and makes them out of some sort of special composite. Seems like it's real quality stuff.
I'm gonna have to check those out.
Yeah, it's definitely good, and he's got this little video where he holds it out. He has his wife, they tie it to the line. He hits it with a ball. It goes flying into the river, and they reel it back in. It's pretty tough crankbait.
Interesting. I got it pulled up on my phone, so I'm gonna look at it after we get done here.
So definitely on the pricey side.
It's all good. Custom baits usually are. It's all good.
Yeah.
So, is this the last tournament you guys are doing until the fall, or are you guys going to do this every month? How's that working?
We'll probably just do this. I'm guessing that we'll have this one, and we won't do another one until next year.
Okay. So, but you'll do the saw guy.
Yeah, but that's a different. I'm not a part of that. I fish it, but I'm not a admin or nothing of that.
Okay. Ryan,
same app. Different people run it, but yeah. Me and Jason, we always fish that brawl. Jason does really good. I think I was up there a couple times, 12th place. It has what we had, like 80 or 90 people in that one.
Yeah, there's quite a few people fishing, but that's the entire state of Ohio too.
It's yeah. I know a lot of guys. I've been seeing comments. Everybody's been wanting you guys to open this up statewide, so they can fish like their rivers and stuff.
In the beginning, me and Mark were talking. My little heart was set on doing a Great Miami and Scioto River.
Yeah.
I think that would bring in a lot more people and a lot more competition, and I think it would be awesome. They got a lot of good water up there, too.
I'm telling you, man, you guys are on to something. I think if you open it up statewide and stuff like that and incorporate more rivers and stuff, a lot more people are going to jump in on this. It's piqued my interest because I've always thought about starting my own, like, kayak trail for rivers here in Ohio, but I don't know how to go about it. But I think you guys are on to something, that's for sure.
Yeah, great thing that they're doing, and the way that it's set up, I think it's great. It's a month-long tournament, so guys like me that got kids that play sports and a busy job, I can't fish every day. So birthday parties every Saturday. So pretty busy. So it spreads it out where you can get more time to do it. And I think, that Fish Donkey app's pretty slick the way you can register your fish in there. There's only one hiccup to the whole thing, and Jason told me that. If you have no signal, that's the only hiccup to it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to leave the app open until you get to where there's signal so it can upload the video of you releasing the fish. But it works fine if you know that. But I think it's a pretty slick thing you're doing. My personal goal was, I told my wife, which she probably don't want to hear me say this, but I said, I'm just going to get in it. I'm not going to try to win it. I'm just going to have fun and then become a better fisherman. And then the first day, the first fish I caught, I hooked my finger on the whopper plopper, both hooks.
Mm-hmm.
Had to cut the hooks out. And I didn't catch a fish after that from 6 until like noon, other than dinks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I caught a bunch of good ones in a row. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I'm getting up there. I went from like 50th to 15th.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have a crack at this. And I've been in the top 5 ever since. And I said, well, my personal goal is to get 100 inches. So once I got past 100, I kept going. Every day I'd get another inch. And I went like 105. And the wife's like, I thought you weren't going to try to win this. I'm up there now.
Yeah, you got to try it now, man.
Yeah. Sunday, I was like, I got to catch another fish. I can't let nobody pass me. And she's like, I thought you were doing this for fun. I'm like, well, in the beginning.
I said something similar when I started doing the kayak fishing tournaments. It's like, hey, I'll just do it for fun, whatever. I ended up winning my second one, then I'm like hooked. Now I want to win them all.
Yeah, I mean, it's just competitive nature.
Yeah.
I know Ryan and Jason are right behind me at all times, and I fully expect them both to pass me. I pretty maxed out all the creeks. I've got my smallest fish is 16 and a half, 2 18s, and then 2 17s, and that's about as big as you're going to catch in a creek. So I need to get over the Great Miami and learn how to catch them out there.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. Maybe Ryan will take you. Maybe not.
I told him he needs to get a kayak.
Yes, need a kayak bad.
Oh, me and him's been talking about kayaks back and forth. So
I need a kayak bad. I mean, I know there's some really good quality smallmouth in the Great Miami, and even the Little Miami. There's miles and miles and miles that don't get touched.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even with the creek fishing, I feel like when you get like halfway between two roads, that's when you get into the best fishing, the less pressure. And I would think it would be the same. I mean, obviously there's more people around the Great Miami, but I just feel like I would enjoy kayaking and getting out there and putting some miles in, getting on some fish that don't get pressured a lot.
Yeah, kayak definitely opens up a lot of opportunities. I've fished over 60 miles on the Great Miami, I think now.
Wow.
So I'm trying to hit the whole thing like in its entirety. So basically from Sydney all the way down to Hamilton I've fished, minus like a few miles in between. But yeah, man, that kayak, it opens up some opportunities, that's for sure. But you mentioned that you're doing this to help yourself grow as an angler. Have you seen any growth?
Yeah, I mean, my confidence is higher. I pretty much keep using the same bait because my confidence bait. I'm pushing myself harder, fishing harder, catching more fish. Probably the best part about it is I'm fishing places I'd never, stretches that I've never fished before. And I probably would have never fished ever because I don't have the time. But this tournament's making me push myself more and just cover more water, which, more time on the water makes you a better fisherman. I feel like.
Definitely.
I agree.
My reels are making funny noises, and I got to change my line out every 5 days. But
yep, been there before.
But I mean, I think it's great. I think what these guys are doing is great. The Smalljaw brawl is a great thing, I think.
Yep, I agree. We didn't talk about the process of submitting a fish, so I don't know. One of you guys want to talk about that a little bit? What you got to do, because it's kind of unique using the Fish Donkey app.
You
just got to do a selfie, a board pick, and a video release. Things that you guys don't do on Tourney X is the whole selfie and the video release. And I guess, we went with the fish donkey because that's when we fish in the Smalljaw brawl. So we were all familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we used that fish donkey. Yeah. I know a lot of people would message me and ask me, why don't you guys use Tourney X? Some people didn't get into the brawl because we didn't use Tourney X, which,
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy.
Yep. Yeah, the fish donkey app, does that have like a fee that they charge to run tournaments through?
Yeah, isn't it $2.95, guys?
Yeah, it's somewhere around $2.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Tourney X is $5. Yeah. I've actually never heard of fish donkey until I saw you guys running this tournament. So that's cool. And I was actually on the river with Ryan one day. He was trying to submit a fish, and I believe you forgot to. What was it? You forgot to do the video?
Well, that fish cost me probably a little over $100.
Yep. It was
Yeah,
a good one.
that one I caught with you, did the selfie, took the board pick, and I was just so excited. I think I just released it without the video, and I swore that I took the video, and hey, I haven't made that mistake again, but I have dropped a 1975 before I got to submit it last tournament too, on the last day. That was heartbreaking. I dove in the water, had my hands on it again, and it still got wet.
That's
I
awesome.
did get a selfie for Facebook though,
Hey, I always do that before I submit a fish. I get the selfie first, so at least I have one picture. So
Yeah,
if it
what
does
I've
jump
been
off the
doing.
board, I'm good.
That's exactly what I've been doing. And the sad part is when you do all that submitting the fish, it can be done pretty quick. But sometimes you might be fumbling with the phone, the fish might be flapping. So what I did, being passionate like I am, I'm like, you know what, I got to give this fish a drink.
Mm-hmm.
I got to give her some water. So I went down to the riverbank and I gripped her tight and I put her in the water, sat there. Next thing you know, she thrashed so hard, that's when it got away.
Mm.
I had fish grips in my backpack, didn't use them. Lesson learned.
Yep. Yeah, I've been there before. I've actually lost a fish off of fish grips before.
Yeah, you told me that when we were kayaking.
Yeah, during a tournament, I had the thing clipped. I threw it into the water. It did a jump, did a head shake, and came off. I was like, "Are you serious?" I would have been the only one to catch a limit that day too, so I probably would have won. But who knows? But it's all good. You guys got anything else that you want to add or anything here? We're winding down.
I don't know. We got kids and women in the tournament. Kids prizes. I mean, I think that's what makes it unique too.
Mm-hmm.
It's to get everybody fishing and have fun. And yeah, we have prize money, but it also gets a lot of the kids in there, and they get a lot of cool prizes too.
Yeah, we got a lot of great sponsors too.
Man.
I mean, it's really shocked me how many sponsorships we've gotten.
Yeah, you guys got a list of those?
I've got.
Yeah, I kind of got from last year, but the only people that aren't with us now is. So we got Little Miami Custom Rods.
Mm-hmm.
They're building a custom rod for first place that Jason won last tournament. Vic Coomer Lures, of course, Big Joshy Swim Baits. They help sponsor the Smalljaw brawls too. They're awesome. Venom Lures, Texas Rattler. They're a company out that. Where are they from, Jason?
I believe they're from Texas.
Texas. All right. Yeah, it's more like an inshore bait. And then we've added Tackle Talk podcast, Andrew Hayes.
Mhm.
He's donating a prize this time. And then me and Jason's favorite prize. Why don't you tell him about that one?
Labino Lures put a sweet prize pack together. Rico, and the
Rico Suave.
Rico Suave.
I love
It's
it.
the walking bait. Dude, them poppers they're fire.
Yeah. Dude, you're giving up too much juice though, man.
That's what Jason told me. He said, "Man, I should have never let you know about that bait." I love topwater, man. That's, you know what? I swear, most of the big fish that I have caught in the last month have all been on topwater.
That makes sense if you're fishing shallow. So,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I think 3 of my 6 are from the Rico, and it's anywhere from a few inches of water out into 6-8 foot of water. They're coming up and getting it.
Yeah. Dude,
Interesting.
I had one come out of, I think it was about 7 foot where I was fishing. Threw it out. I was talking to my buddy, looking at him. Every once in a while, I'd twitch the rod with my left hand. All of a sudden, we just both heard this giant explosion. My rod doubles over. So it came out of some deep water to hit it. I wasn't even looking at it.
That's awesome.
They're
What's that?
I said they're definitely awesome.
Yep. Well, we're winding down here. Guys, thanks for coming on the show. You guys got any shout outs you'd like to give or anything?
Shout out to Mark Linkart for putting this tournament together and making a little vision come true. I mean, we talked about it, and he did it.
Awesome.
Shout out to him.
What about you guys?
And
Any
if anybody,
shout-outs?
Probably to my wife for letting me fish as much as I do.
And she goes with you
do
sometimes,
that.
though.
Yeah, she goes with me a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. My wife doesn't want anything to do with it. Matt?
I think she's leading the women's side of it right now. My wife is.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
cool.
Nice.
That's cool. Matt, you got any shout outs?
Nothing, man. I enjoy your podcast. I'm a podcast junkie, YouTube. So I always listen to Paddle Fin, Tackle Talk, Smalley Talk.
I love that
much
one too.
respect to all you guys for putting all this information out there. There's nothing good on the radio, so learning something on your way to work, I mean, that's priceless to me. Talking about something that we're all passionate about, fishing. So shout out to you guys, man, for doing this. Appreciate you having me on here, man.
Yeah, no problem. Ryan, I know you're on Instagram. What's your handle?
It's Ryan Doll 82 on Instagram, and then Facebook it's just Ryan Doll.
All right. And Jason you have a Facebook page, right? That you run?
Yeah, I got Fishing with Myers is 365, and I have a 513 Bassmaster on Instagram.
There you go. I didn't know you were on Instagram. I'm gonna follow you. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show again tonight, guys. Everybody, you guys have a good week. Tune in tomorrow for the OG show, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode on Paddle and Fin. Don't forget to go check out our website at paddle_and_fin.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at Paddle and Fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest on a future episode, feel free to email us at paddle_and_fin@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Paddle and Fin on Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to our show supporters, Angler, the Angler Button, and app just makes for a better time on the water and creates a virtual logbook for every fishing outing out on the water. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures, located in Northern Illinois, for all your kayaking, camping, and hiking needs. TRC Covers, protect your investment. Ketch Products, shout out to Ketch Products. Go to catchproducts.com and put the Paddle and Fin logo directly on your catch board. Shout out to JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com, use promo code PNF20 and save 20% on all your jig and tackle needs.